How's it going, everybody? This is Beat the Bush. Today, I'm going to talk about how to learn how to study, because a lot of times in grade school, high school, college, or whatever, they don't really teach you how you learn, but they just give you the information and expect you to learn it somehow. And you can go about it in different ways, such as dry learning it, like copying it many times. You can just reread something, but there are ways you can actually learn that will make learning a much faster process, therefore saving you time, therefore letting you learn more stuff and getting ahead of other students. If you're a good student yourself, you may end up trying to figure out ways to learn better. So maybe you might dig up books and stuff to read about how to learn. Now, there are different modes of learning that you need to do. Sometimes it's technical, so that you need to learn the process of something. So when you read through it, you just gotta comprehend what is going on and being able to understand the concept of the idea, not really memorizing anything, because once you get the concept, it's really easy to remember pieces of the concept because your mind works in an associative way. When you remember one thing, you end up remembering a lot of other little nuggets, and you can end up remembering the whole concept. One item that you may run across is sometimes you need to memorize stuff. It doesn't really matter what. It might be vocabulary from biology. It might be vocabulary from a new language or something. When you have a word and you need to regurgitate the definition or some process or something, you write something on one side, usually something short or a picture or something, and then on the other side it will be a big explanation or definition. So you end up with a bunch of flashcards like this. It may not be instinctive for everyone to learn only the ones that you're not good at, because sometimes people would just grab a whole bunch of flashcards. They made a whole bunch. It took them a lot of work. Actually, making flashcards itself, it's about 25% of the work, because you gotta write a lot. It takes a long time to make flashcards. But once you have your flashcards, you gotta go through it, okay? When you go through everything that you get right, please put it aside because you already know it, right? And maybe this one, it took me a little while to remember, so I don't quite get it right away. Maybe I'll put it in the middle pile. And this one, if I absolutely don't know and I have to flip it over, then I would put it in the really don't know pile. But really, anything that you kind of don't know or really don't know, just put it on another pile. In the end, you might start off with a pile that is maybe half that you absolutely don't know and half that you already know. Those stuff that you already know, don't waste your time going over it over and over again. So only work with the stuff that you don't know. Some of it you know, and then more of it that you know. In the end, you would know everything, okay? Then of course you shuffle it all, and then you do it again, and probably you will have some that you kind of forget and don't know, and you just repeat this process until you can go through the whole stack knowing everything. Now, after you make your flashcard, you're gonna have a word on one side and some definition on another, or some explanation or something. Now, the trick is, when you look at this, you need to remember what's in the back. You can try to memorize it, right? You look at it and you study it, right? You look at the word, you repeat it, and then you flip it over and you read it, and you're like, okay. So when you actually read it on both sides, you're actually associating several things. When you read it, you're using your visual to memorize it on both sides. And when you actually say it, you can hear yourself say it, so you can be an auditory thing. So you can kind of use the auditory to remember, your visual to remember, and then when you're actually using your mouth to control your mouth to say it, that's another avenue of memorizing. But this is not the only way to memorize something on a card. A simple way to remember something is try to associate the word with the definition itself. And you gotta make a little story around it. It doesn't really matter how complex a story is. The more detailed and more ridiculous, the better, because you'll really remember it very easily. Let's say I'm trying to remember the word dinosaur, and it kind of sounds like die as in death, no, sour, like sour, dinosaur. It kind of sounds like that. So when I read the word, I can immediately go, oh, dinosaur, dinosaur. So I can imagine this really strong chicken or something, and it's eating something deathly sour, and it can eat this and it won't die, and it kind of looks like a chicken. Dinosaur kind of looks like a chicken, and it won't die, so dinosaur. So you get the point. Like, I'm trying to make up a really funny story that I can associate with the word very easily.